All right, people. So people have already heard probably. Things have been going around there. This BAFTA that is at the award ceremony there. What happened to Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo there. And it was the incident what happened at the BAFTAs where you can audibly hear someone scream the N-word there while they're presenting. And they didn't cut the footage out, BAFTA or the BBC there. We're into, because this has been a developing thing. Many people have talked about this already, weighed in on it. That's what sometimes it helps to, kind of come on later, talk about it, because a bunch of stuff comes out about it, more details. So it's been good to kind of look at all that stuff while we're talking about this now. Here's the video right here. I won't play the audio there, given because of what is said, but this is the video, so I'll play that. And you can see, so it's Delroy Lindo, Michael Jordan there presenting, and then you can see just the moment on his face when it kind of happens there, where they do this pause, like kind of right around here. And let me know if you want a better video. If you think it's a little too blurry, let me know. But yeah, so you can have that moment right there where they kind of just pause, and Delroy Lindo especially kind of makes a face, and then he kind of continues on there with what he was saying after that. So the person who said it was a guy named John Davidson. John Davidson is a man who has Tourette's there, and a special type of Tourette's, other condition now, which I didn't hear about before myself there. And it's a condition called corporelia, and it's one of a more vicious types of Tourette's there, where it really hacks into the brain, and then it more says aggressive and inappropriate things at the most kind of not good times there. So I never knew about this before. So I mean, this discourse has also opened me up to learning more about it, and this and about Tourette's and the various things that Tourette's can do. Now the reason why John Davidson was there was because he has a movie coming out called I Swear there. And that's the reason he was there. Now, I don't know, maybe is this the best or worst press for this movie ever? Because it's like, okay, do you really want to see it now? So there's a movie there about his whole kind of experience. And before this, he was a guy that was kind of also infamous for he yelled "fuck the Queen" in front of the Queen there, and he is someone who is English there, so he did say that there about it. And yeah, he did end up saying that. Actually, Scottish. I'm sorry, Scottish, not English there, but he did say "fuck the Queen" there. And he profusely apologized to the Queen, but that blew up, and that was pretty of a huge thing there. But it's a biographical film, just about his life and everything like that. People want to check it out. So it's kind of sparked this huge debate there about, his intention and is he a racist? Did he do it on purpose there? People not knowing about this specific condition of Tourette's there. Also the BBC, the BAFTA, they didn't cut it out there. And another thing about it as well, they did cut out other things in the show. They did cut out a moment where somebody did say "Free Palestine." So a person got on there and did a whole speech where they announced that. I'll play that speech there as well, because it did get cut from it. So this is right here. So this is Al Jazeera. It says BBC criticized for nixing Free Palestine tribute from BAFTA coverage there. And so they did. And people also, the BAFTA Awards, it was a 2-hour delay. So it was plenty of time to cut this beforehand. And then they had also cut other slurs and I'll show articles talking about that as well, that John Davidson had said. So they also cut out the fact that he did call Alan Cummings, who was kind of the host of the night, that he called him a slur there. They cut that out. They also cut out the fact that John Davidson did say the N-word many times before. He said it, I think, a couple other times, 3 other times there. There was a Sinners production designer who talked about that as well, about her experience of that happening. They cut that out there as well. But here's the speech there from the gentleman there about it.
to Harry Lighton, Cal McCall, Hunter Andrews, Owen Doran, Myriad Carton, Jack King, Holly Bryan, Lucy Mayer. It's an honor to be nominated alongside you. Graciously share this award with you and all your cast and crew. I acknowledge the path my ancestors, past, present, and future, have laid before me, and I'm forever grateful to live in this moment. To my family, my late father, my mighty mother, my sister, brother, niece, nephews.
He does have pins also, Palestine there, as well. He's got some
Thanks.
pins on.
Thank you all for keeping the faith. To my brother Wale, who's been the closest I've ever had to a father figure. Thank you for nurturing this spark and writing this beautiful story. To our lead, the mighty Shokwe Dirisu. Yes, he's a stud. To Godwin and Marvelous, thank you for the performances. This made us all feel something. To my producers, Lagos and Matlock's very own formidable titans, Rachel Dargavo and Fumbi Ogumbawa. Thank you for moving mountains every day. I want to thank BAFTA. I appreciate the jury for this incredible honor and what it means to the children of the diaspora. To the whole cast and crew, BBC Film, Eva Yates, Anu Henriques, BFI, Amma Ampadu, Mia Bays, the National Lottery, Mubi, Match Factory, Fremantle, Element Pictures, Ed Gurney, Andrew Lowe, and the whole Element Fatherland team. Thank you all for pouring into our film and supporting this with all your heart and soul. And lastly, to all those whose parents migrated to obtain a better life for their children, to the economic migrant, the conflict migrant, those under occupation, dictatorship, persecution, and those experiencing genocide, you matter, your stories matter more than ever. Your dreams are an act of resistance. To those watching at home, archive your loved ones, archive your stories, yesterday, today, and forever. For Nigeria, for London, the Congo, Sudan, free Palestine. Thank you.
So great speech there from him. Awesome things going on like that. And I'll pull up the other articles as well, but just get you guys' opinion. What was kind of your reaction to this fiasco, this controversy? Yeah.
Oh boy. I don't really feel qualified to talk about the Tourette's angle to it. I have heard that all those tics are involuntary, so it's kind of a difficult discussion to wade into, but I don't blame Michael B. Jordan or Delroy Lindo for being offended by that. I don't think they should be asked to be okay with what happened, even though it wasn't the guy's fault. But I put the blame more on BAFTA and the BBC because, they had to have known this was a possibility given what happened to the Queen, and I'm just shocked that they didn't take more precautions to, I don't know, maybe mute his mic or something. I don't know what.
Well, he was not on stage. Yeah, he was in the audience, so he didn't have.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so he just yelled it there with that.
Boy, yeah, that's. I really feel like the BBC should have figured something out though, given his history though. But it's just a shame on all fronts.
What about you there, Nick?
It's a difficult thing because with Tourette's, a lot of the physical and vocal tics, so much of that is involuntary, and it's kind of a situation where it's hard to find somebody to blame because I don't begrudge Delroy Lindo or Michael B. Jordan for being offended because they clearly were. They have every right to be. But I feel like more of it falls on the BBC because, again, this is a situation that you knew was at least kind of possible. And there should have been better precautions taken. And, Davidson himself, he's issued a public apology. He's, mortified if anyone considers the tics to be intentional or carry any meaning, which, it's a difficult situation.
And then I'll pull up this article as well. I'll pull up the article you're probably referencing, which is from Variety, which he talks about that as well, where he which goes into a larger conversation there. But people were saying, so this says, like you said, so subject, I swear subject John Davidson says Tourette's tics are involuntary after shouting N-word at BAFTA, deeply mortified if anyone thinks it was intentional. And then, so I've also read an article that said he did reach out via Warner Brothers to try to get in contact with Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo to apologize there as well. Because that was also a big thing of should he apologize? Should he not apologize? People debating that as well. But yeah, And I think I did hear after the night he didn't even stay for any of the after kind of activities or anything. Like he just left immediately afterwards because he was embarrassed and I guess felt
Probably a
shame.
good call.
Yeah, maybe. And then he was embarrassed and kind of felt shame there, so he left after that. But yeah, so and I also bring up the thing before we discuss about the apology there. I also bring up, so this was the Center's production designer, Hannah Belcher there, Beechler there. And then she talked about the throwaway apology, which is also something Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo, their initial thing was that, I mean, their really condemnation really wasn't for John Davidson, it seemed like, but more of BAFTAs, and it's like nobody really came to them and did anything.
BAFTA,
there.
the onus is on them to like issue out the apologies, and it says a lot that that they let that moment air, but the speech of Free Palestine that got edited out.
So this is her right here. You have Hannah Belchler, Beechler there, the Center's production designer. So she wrote on Twitter here. So these are some quotes from her Twitters and everything like that. It says here in this article by Deadline, it says Beechler, who said also she experienced Davidson's involuntary racial slurs, was unhappy at the nature of Cummings' comments on stage. She said an impossible situation was made worse by the throwaway apology. BAFTA has been approached for comment. The BBC apologized for broadcasting strong and offensive language. On Twitter, Beechler wrote, "I keep trying to write about what happened at the BAFTAs and can't find the words. The situation is almost impossible, but it happened 3 times that night, and one of the 3 times was directed at myself on the way to dinner after the show. And a 3rd time at a Black woman. I understand and deeply know why this is an impossible situation and know we must handle this with grace and continue to push through. But what made the situation worse was the throwaway apology. If you were offended at the end of the show." And then she also put here, "Of course, we were offended, but our frequency, our spiritual vibration is tuned to a higher level than what happened. I am not a steel. This did not become bounce off of me. But I exist above it. It can't take away from who I am as an artist." There, she did say that as well. Hunter said the BAFTAs will always discriminate against people of color as long as the sky is still blue there. So that was kind of a main thing there with that. But a thing kind of going on. So this has raised, kind of a big thing of, people saying like, fuck that, he meant that, and then he demanding him to apologize. And people said there's people from the Tourette's, people with that condition from that community saying that, like he, can't help it and he shouldn't apologize, because if he were to apologize or be demanded to apologize, because it's something he can't control there. What do you guys say about that there?
I think that's I think that's kind of nonsense that when they say he shouldn't apologize just because it's involuntary. Yes, it is involuntary. Yes, it's involuntary, but at the same time, that doesn't change the fact that he yelled racial slurs at like very prominent people and, had a whole fiasco caused by it. Like, I'm sorry, but like, voluntary or not, that doesn't change the fact that some horrible stuff happened. And you kind of have to own up to that and apologize and just say, I didn't mean it, but I am sorry it happened,
Yeah, I've been through, recovery, and, who I was when I was drinking, that, wasn't me. That person did a lot of fucked up stuff, but the onus is still on me to make amends and to apologize for the wrongs that I committed.
So I think the biggest thing about this situation is that nuance. I think that's kind of the word of the day when it comes to
nuance, which nobody wants to bring up.
And I think that, I mean, I'll just say right now, do I think the guy is racist? I don't think the guy's racist. I mean, now if he has a pattern of behavior, not of just like saying things like this, but if like he was on Twitter or something like that, or he wrote articles like, we got to get these blacks out of London or some shit like that. Something like that.
If after the incident he doubled down, then I would be like a little more critical of him. But yeah, he, did the right thing and, apologized.
So that if he has like that type of stuff going on, then I would be like, well, no. But so I don't think he's racist. When it comes to the apology, I understand like feeling like you're apologizing for who you are or what you have and all that. I get that aspect of it. But like you said, if, there, I mean, he could do it like if he did it privately through private channels, like not in front, he doesn't have to do it in front of the whole world. I think if he was trying to reach out via Warner Bros., get in contact with Michael B. Jordan, and from my understanding, he's trying to do that, then I think that's fine. You know what I mean? And I think that's good. And I think that goes a long way in just kind of, going like, hey, yes, this was obviously, for a person with that condition to do that, it feels embarrassing. Even if he said, anything, but it would feel embarrassing. But the fact that he said that, especially, that is also doubly embarrassing there. But also, you have to also respect that the way that Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo probably felt in that moment of, you're just up there, you're trying to present this award, you're trying to present, this thing, or, at this award show. And then you just kind of go like, you're just thrown off, like, what the fuck? Like, and it's uncomfortable and it's awkward and it's just, it very unfortunate. So I just think it's both kind of things there of recognizing both feelings at the same time, of not prioritizing one over the other, I think is kind of the main thing here. And to my understanding, the guy, I mean, on his social media, on his Instagram, he was getting a lot of hate comments there. People saying, he should he should be dead, or, they'd kill him, or he should be beat up.
That's too far.
It's a bit much.
And then you had Jamie Foxx here, who said that it said, Jamie Foxx, that guy meant to say the N-word at the BAFTAs there. He said, so this was him on Instagram. He said, out of all the words you could have said, Tourette makes you say that. Nah, he meant that shit. Unacceptable. Now, I think that Jamie Foxx, I think he should apologize to John Davidson. I think he should be brought in and be like, you got to understand this is a specific condition and all that of kind of what happened, and maybe like that. I think that should be kind of, he should be brought in for that and maybe apologize to John Davidson for that, because I think that's kind of putting unnecessary hate on the guy that you want to do there. And also just people learning about what this is, and an opportunity to learn and grow of like, oh, okay, so this is what this is. Maybe I didn't know. Like I said, I didn't know what this specific type of Tourette's was there. I didn't know that beforehand, so that opened my eyes to that. What do you guys think about that there?
I mean, truth be told, I kind of questioned whether it was like, whether his vocabulary was indicative of like his thoughts when I first heard about this. But like, this is kind of why you need to think about this stuff before you just write every thought you ever have online. Is because like, if you took like maybe 10 minutes to look into this, you'd realize, oh, there's more to it. So it's a cautionary tale of not posting every thought you have the minute you have it online. And
then also the ableism there as well, of like saying like, well, maybe people like that, maybe they should just be put in like another room or something like that, or they should be, like muzzled or something, like that's just kind of dehumanizing there. And it's very inhumane, I think, to say that about a person that, like, because you have this, you can't be with us, you got to be put in like a separate room away from everybody else. I don't think that's good to say there. What do you think about that, Nick? Oh, Nick,
it's another thing that it's difficult to say. And yes, a lot of the things that we're suggesting, it is, kind of dehumanizing, but what else are you going to do? I mean, it's difficult to say.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I say, it did say it there, but so I think I don't really support like just locking the dude away somewhere else. So it's like, well, maybe you can't be invited to any more award shows.
And it's like, maybe think twice before accepting the invitation, or like, maybe that's the time to go to the bathroom or something.
And then, so he did excuse himself, I think, multiple times. I think they did say he did excuse himself through the night. And then Alan Cummings did say, I think beforehand of the show, that we have somebody in the audience that does have this condition, that you might hear things that, maybe will be shouted out there, and everything like that. Like I said, he did call Alan Cummings. He did say that he was a pedophile there. He said that as well there on it. So this tweet says this. So it says Tourette's campaigner John Davidson says he experienced multiple times outbursts at the BAFTA beyond shouting the N-word, attributing his tics to a condition called echolalia there. I'm often triggered by what I see and or what I hear. On Sunday, Alan Cumming joked about his own sexuality, and when referencing Paddington Bear, said, "Maybe you would like to come home with me, Paddington. It wouldn't be the first time I've taken a hairy Peruvian bear home with me." Davidson explained to Variety this resulted in homophobic tics from him, from me, and led to a shout of pedophile that was likely triggered because Paddington Bear is a children's character there. So he did do that there with that. So that was kind of one thing there. And then you do have people kind of quitting over this. Like, there's one woman who was like a judge there for the BAFTAs. She ended up quitting. I'll put that up on the screen here as well there, and show that here. So this is this woman right here. After considerable soul searching, I feel compelled to withdraw from the BAFTA Emerging Talent Judge Panel. The organization's handling of the unfortunate Tourette's N-word incident last night at the awards was utterly unforgivable. I cannot and will not contribute my time and energy and expertise to an organization that has repeatedly failed to safeguard the dignity of its Black guest members and the Black creative community. This is particularly unfortunate given that this year's co-host boasts some incredible Black talent, especially one of my favorite shows of 2025, Just Act Normal. However, when an organization like BAFTA, with its own long history of systematic racism, refuses to acknowledge the harm inflicted on both the Black and disabled communities and offer an appropriate apology, remaining involved would be tantamount to condoning its behavior. I hope BAFTA leadership comprehend the damage they and the BBC have caused and take necessary steps to ensure their production staff are inclusive enough to prevent such an issue in the future. So you had that there. So I think most of my blame, I think, goes with BAFTA and the BBC. Especially, there's also Warner Brothers contacted them and said, "Don't air that footage. Don't air the thing with the N-word on it." Like they contacted them and said, "Don't do that." So you also had that. So that's kind of primarily where most of my blame goes. I think with you guys,
Right.
that's where most of the blame goes as well with you, or?
Yeah, I mean, they had the time to edit out Free Palestine, but didn't have the time to edit out this guy's outburst. So yeah, clearly their wrongdoing on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had the time. It's like you said, they broadcast it with a 2-hour delay. There was ample time to catch that shit.
Yeah, so one was compelled about BAFTA racial slur incident and requested to be cut from BBC broadcast there. And like they cut everything. They cut the other slurs he said. They cut the other time he said the N-word. They cut that out as well. So I don't know why they would keep that in there and be a part of that. I'm going to show a video of somebody with the condition because, a lot of things is Black people, and obviously they're involved, people in the disabled community. So it's kind of seeming like more of a white versus Black thing. And then where does that leave Black people with the condition? Where does that leave them? They're very, saddened by this whole situation because they're obviously part of both communities, and they kind of feel kind of like, well, I don't want to condone the racism going on the other side, but also, there is a lot of ableism going on as well. And I feel erased as well with that. And I want to also stick up for John Davidson. So this is a creator on here, TikTok as well there that talked about that. And I'll go ahead and pull up her videos. And she also has the same condition there. So let me show that. It's a little bit of a long video, but I'll try to show as much as I can here. So here we go.
This is part 2 to my last.
Oh, let me play actually part 1 here. Let me show that video first. Let me play it.
Ignore how I look right now. I am not feeling too great. However, there is something I have been asked to talk about, and that is going to be the BAFTA situation. I have been seeing a bunch of outrage about it, people saying, oh, well, why would that even be in his vocabulary? He did that on purpose and all of this stuff, and that racism is to excuse. A very sad day for the Tourette syndrome community, especially for the ones that have coprolalia, because when you come online and you see thousands of people hating on your condition, specifically coprolalia, because that's something that is already very embarrassing for all of us. I'm not going to say that people can't be offended by the fact that somebody said the N-word as a tick. However, it's not something that somebody can control. It's not something that somebody wants to say. And I've been seeing a lot of people be like, well, he said it like when the crowd went silent. That is most likely when a tic is going to happen when you're in public, when you're in complete silence, or when you're trying not to say or do something. So we must understand what coprolalia is. Coprolalia causes involuntary swearing and inappropriate tics. This can include the N-word, slurs, etc. I am a Black person, and even I have the N-word tic and slurs as tics. This is something I don't see many talk about because of situations like this. Is it a disappointing thing? Shut up! That it happened in public in front of that entire crowd, specifically to Michael B. Jordan and the other presenter. I'm so sorry, I do not know his name. I wish I did, but no disrespect to him. I just am not too aware. Yes, it is a very unfortunate situation. Seeing so many people say that they would invoke violence against people with coprolalia if they can't control their tics. That's ableism. The fucked up thing that this happens, yes, but it's something that we can't control. Aggression in the brain being triggered. Shut up. And ultimately causing inappropriate tics. Michael B. Jordan and the other presenter have the right to be upset, especially if they were not aware. However, we need to understand and educate ourselves. And on my videos, I constantly see people saying, oh my god, so funny, if I had cursing tics, I would be laughing all the time. But when people actually have cursing tics, then it's offensive and they're a bad person and this and that, the third. We need to do better. We need to educate ourselves better. This is not me saying that people don't have the right to be offended. However, you can't be offended when a disabled person is disabled. I might make a part 2 to this. There's a lot that I need to say, but...
And I'll show the part 2 of that. But yeah, I mean, she was getting a lot of hate for that video there, a lot of comments, a lot of people using her video there to basically justify, a lot of like racist people to justify, like, well, see, you know what I mean? There, you know, like, okay, this Black person, you know, they get it and whatever, even though she says in the video, like, Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan have a right to be offended by kind of what happened there. But, you know, racist people comprehension, you know, it's not a very good skill set for them. So, you know, you gotta factor that in. Maybe they have a disability. I don't know. But you got that there. But let me play part 2 here of the video as well here.
About the entire BAFTA situation. I am seeing a ton of people saying, oh my god, during Black History Month, Tourette syndrome is not based on a month. Offensive tics are going to happen no matter what shut up a person does. I'm Black.
Well, I think that was more like, I think people saying it is more like a joke. I think I don't people. I thought people were for real. I think it's more like a joke thing.
Yeah, the internet is a very unserious place, and it's a place that lives on hyperbole. I did see some funny meme. I laughed at some memes. I saw one meme where it was like, because you see Jamie Foxx being mad at him for saying the N-word, and then somebody had that photo, that meme of like the HR person going to, and it's the unattractive guy, and then it's the pretty guy, and then the pretty guy is Quentin Tarantino saying the N-word. He's like, oh, my lovely sweetie, and then it's John Davidson saying the same thing, N-word, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna call the police. You know what I mean? So I thought that was kind of funny. I like that meme there.
Yeah.
Then there was another one. They did the Sinners meme where the vampire
clan.
Yeah, they did that one. You know, stuff like that. So they did that. So I laughed at a couple of those ones. I thought that was kind of funny there. But let's continue here.
Oh my goodness. And I also have the N-word as a tic. I have other slurs as tics. Does this mean that I use them regularly? Does this mean that I mean them? Does this mean that I can control what I say? No, it does not. That's not how coprolalia works. That is not how Tourette syndrome works. Quite literally the Sweet Anita situation all over again. Shut up. Where she ended up saying the N-word on stream. She got canceled for it, got called racist, etc. We need to do better. I've seen so many people say that we can control our tics. That's not, if you can control a tic, it's not a tic. Let me explain what a tic is in detail. Shut up, bitch. A tic is when your neurons misfire. You think that you can seriously fucking control a neuron misfiring. I've never seen a human possibly do that. We have got to stop thinking with our feelings and start thinking with logic. It is okay to be offended. Shut up. But what it is not okay to do is be ableist and try to make it seem like people with Tourette's, specifically those with coprolalia, say their tics on purpose. My whole think piece on this, if you are offended, I do deeply apologize, but I'm just being logical here. I see a lot of people giving their think pieces, and they are specifically talking about racism when tics don't correlate with racism. But that's not what causes offensive or obscene tics. What causes those kinds of tics are coprolalia. Coprolalia, shut up, is completely involuntary and does not involve your vocabulary.
Yeah. So like I said, a lot of people been using her video there, and she didn't put out another video, but she did put out a couple of statements there on her TikTok there about people using her video and maybe a wrong way. So I'll show that as well, just to make sure that that's shown here. So she says here, oh, sorry, let me remove this video here. There with this. Oh, there we go. She says, also a little disclaimer. I put air quotes around racism as excuse in my video, not to say that it isn't, but in this context, it is not excused. Tourette's is explained. It is not inherently racist. It should be able to be explained and understood. I wanted everyone to come to a middle ground between the situation, not further divide there. She mentioned that. Then another one, let's see here. And then she also put this up as well there. She says, currently I can't make a video as I am sick and in pain, but this needs to be addressed. People have begun to use my videos on Twitter as a way to be racist, and this is absolutely unacceptable. I am not anti-Black, nor would I ever excuse racism. I explained Tourette's and coprolalia in deep detail, which offended some people, but unfortunately, at this point, people will be offended either way. I'm seeing people think that I meant that the presenters Michael B. Jordan, Delroy Lindo, and even the director Ryan Coogler don't deserve apologies. They absolutely do, and I've stated this multiple times. I think the apology should be private, not public. The whole situation was purposefully publicized by BAFTA, and that's obvious by now. They clipped out Free Palestine, but not that tick. They 100% knew it would lead to discourse, and that's wrong. My intent was not to say that Black people can't be offended, because, as I stated in my videos, the community is more than valid. So yeah, you had that kind of going on there. So I thought that was really great. She did a great video explaining it, explaining kind of the whole thing there. So I think it's just more grace. People need to have grace for both sides, and I know that in the situation of Black people, grace isn't always given in situations there. Even if, let's say people said like, well, it wasn't, he didn't mean it, or, like the fact that people completely going like, just because it was a tick, that Black people can't feel any type of way about that, or Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo can't feel any type of way about it. And they're privileged, actor millionaires. So, what does it matter? And I think it's just complete being dismissive there. So I think can't be dismissive of what they're going through, can't be dismissive of what John Davidson's going through there. But yeah, so I think that's a big point there with that. Any some of the last things you want to say, Neil, about it?
Yeah, I think I've covered everything, but just like, yeah, just be sure, in situations like this, just show some grace and like do a little research, because like there's a lot of conclusions that people can jump to, but that are not fair. So just do your research, and BBC and BAFTAs do better, because y'all caused a lot of shit with this. Do better.
Yeah. What about you there, Nick?
Yep. Well spoken. Well said, Neil.
Yeah. So yeah. So the BAFTA did come out with a statement there. I'm trying to show this article, but it's trying to make me sign up for fucking ads. Holy shit. So yeah, let me go to Variety here with this one. But it says BAFTA apologized to Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo. And then they said, so it says full responsibility for N-word outbursts. We'll learn from this there. They go like, funny if they go like, you know what, we're just gonna stop inviting Black people. How about that? Let's boy, so, like we invite no more Black people. There you go. That's 100%. We solved it. We solved the problem, guys. We did it. There. But not to take away from it, because if this didn't happen, it took away from an amazing night that Sinners had. The Sinners had a great night at the BAFTAs.
Yeah, a great night at the BAFTAs. Wunmi Mosaku winning Best Supporting Actress there, and it's rare that we have an Oscar race where all of the like award shows leading up to the Oscars, a different winner has been on every award show.
Yeah,
at least in the actor categories.
So it ended up winning. So it won Best Supporting Actress, Best Original Score, Best Original Screenplay, Best Actor, Best Film, Best Direction, Best Makeup and Hair, Best Cinematography, Best Editing, Best Costume Design, Best Production Design, Best Sound, and Best Casting. So it did really, really well there. And I think it also made history because Ryan Coogler was the first black person to ever win for a screenplay in the entire history of the BAFTAs. So it made history there. Let me make sure I got that right. That it made history there. But yeah, so it's just a shame there. Yeah, so it did. So yeah, that is true. So at the 79th Academy Film Awards, Sims becomes the most nominated film by a black director in British Academy history, while Coogler became the first black filmmaker to win the BAFTA award for best original screenplay. There. Do you like the award? Do you think it looks better than the Oscar, like their BAFTA thing? You think
Yeah,
it
let me
looks
see
better?
it one more time.
Okay, sure thing. Hold on, let me share my screen again here.
Oh yeah, I gotta look at it. It's cool.
Kind of looks kind of eyes wide shutish. I don't know if I want that in my house. I don't know. I don't know if I want that in my house. I don't know. It's cool. I like it. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm more of a medal guy than a trophy guy, but it's okay.
Yeah. You want the Presidential Medal of Freedom for movies or something like that? Like give them kind of like Olympic gold medal.
Oh,
Kinda
you
like-
know,
They're
Donald
easier-
Trump ain't getting one of those, giving one of those out.
They're easier to transport and keep around is all I'll say.
Yeah. Imagine it was like the Academy did like the Olympics. They gave everybody just like, yeah. And you have somebody just decked out all with like medals. You know what I mean? Just a whole like Michael Phelps and shit like that. Like
That would have been like cool the year Bong Joon-ho won like 4 Oscars on the same night.
So yeah, that, but yeah. And then also you had so they got doubly called the N-word because Google even did it as well. You had that where there was the whole AI Google alert that happened.
Oh no.
And this is the technology that finance bros want to run the world.
So Google apologized after a news alert about BAFTA Film Awards debacle included the N-word. So you had that. The notification was spotted and condemned by Instagram user Danny Price, who said it was absolutely fucked there. He added, what an interesting Black History Month this has turned out to be. It says Deadline is not embedding Prince's post because it contains a screenshot of the offending Google alert, but can be viewed here. So just to show people what it was, let me see here.
We live in a deeply unserious world.
This is kind of small, but let me see if I can save it and then let me see if I can blow it up more.
The internet lives on unseriousness.
Let me see if I can do that, but it's kind of
everything is unserious in this world.
Okay, let me see right here. Let me blow this up, and then let me see if I can do this with it. But yeah, so I mean, it was just kind of craziness after craziness there with them. So Google had to apologize. BAFTA had to apologize. It's just like Jesus Christ.
So as far as award show fiascos go, I think it's pretty safe to say this tops the Chris Rock Will Smith slap at this point.
So
yeah, very much so.
That was the message that popped up there. AI. So thank you AI for that. I guess. Thank you. Yeah. So that was our discussion. BAFTAs. There.
If the movie Mercy didn't convince you to turn on AI, then hopefully that does.
Just because of how much that movie sucked, it's like, man, I don't want
yes.
AI.
Fuck AI.
Yeah. All right. Oh, let me show that. I was gonna show that picture with that meme I was talking about because that shit was. Let me show that one. That Jamie Foxx one. I forgot to put that up there. But this was the meme I was talking about earlier with Jamie Foxx. So this was like yeah. Yeah. So there you go. So that was our discussion. BAFTAs there.